morning, elephants. Good afternoon, dinos. Hey, you know what I'm doing? One of my favorite summer activities is blowing bubbles. Don't you love to blow bubbles and catching them? Look at that bubble. I look at that bubble and I wonder a lot of things. I have a lot of questions about bubbles. Do you have a lot of questions about bubbles? Well, hopefully I can answer some of those questions for you. I have a story and it's called Pop. It's a book about bubbles. Now, do you think this story is going to be a fiction story, a made-up story, or is it going to be an informational text, a nonfiction? Let's look at it. So it's called Pop, a book about bubbles. It's by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. She wrote the book. She wrote the words. She's the author. And the photographs are by Margaret Miller. And we talk about illustrations can be pictures, but they can also be photographs. Now, one hint we have is right away there's photos. There's real pictures. So that might be a hint that the story might be an informational text, right? And it says here, let's read and find out science book. So it's going to be about science. So let's read. So what are some of your questions about bubbles? I was wondering, why does a bubble float? And what is a bubble made of? And why does a bubble pop when we put our finger in it? Did you have those same questions? Well, let's see if this informational text can help us get to the bottom of bubbles. Pop, a book about bubbles. And here's the little girl blowing bubbles. Dip the plastic wand into the soap solution. Hold it up to your mouth. Now blow. You've made a bubble. So you make bubbles, right? Bubbles just don't happen by themselves. What does a bubble need to become a bubble? Well, how do you blow a bubble? You put your breath through it. Those are big bubbles. Watch it float higher and higher. The bubble shimmers in the sun. Up it goes, up, up, then pop. It disappears. I wonder how high a bubble can float before it pops. You can blow small bubbles or big ones. You can blow one bubble or hundreds of bubbles. You can't blow square bubbles or flat bubbles. All bubbles are round. That's an interesting fact. All bubbles are round. Bubbles are air trapped inside a liquid. The liquid you put your bubble wand into is made of water and soap. Sometimes it has a little corn syrup in it also. It's sticky. It sticks to the floor if you spill it. It sticks to your fingers when you touch it, and it sticks to the plastic bubble wand. It sticks and it stretches. It stretches across the round hole at the end of a bubble wand. So maybe that's why we know that they are round, because a bubble can only be made with a round hole. Even if the hole is a different size, it's still going to come out in a round shape, maybe a long round shape. So we know what we have to put in bubbles: soap, water, and some syrup. We need it to be sticky and stretchy. If it's not sticky and stretchy, can't make a bubble. When you blow into the wand, you make the air move. Now, we talked about solids, liquids, and gas. What is air? Is air a solid, a liquid, or a gas? Air is a gas. You're right. So we blow it in. If you blow slowly, you can see how the air makes the soap on the wand start to stretch. You see? It's starting to stretch. As you blow harder, the soap stretches and stretches until it can't stretch anymore. Finally, it snaps free. The soap shuts around the air inside the bubble, and there it is, a bubble. So what is a bubble? Can you tell me now? It is trapped air inside something that we made with soap and water and a little corn syrup. It is a liquid that can hold its shape because it has soap and corn syrup in it, and it's stretchy. Look at that giant bubble. You don't have to blow to make a bubble. But we just said that we need air in a bubble. How else are we going to get air into a bubble? Do you know how else we can get air in a bubble? What's all around us all the time that we breathe in and out that we need? Air is all around us. So if you hold your bubble wand up to the wind will blow bubbles for you. You can also make bubbles by holding the wand up and running. Anything that moves air can make a bubble. So there we go. We don't need our breath. We need moving air to fill the bubble. If a bubble touches something, like your hand or another bubble, it may get a flat side, or the wind may push a bubble and change its shape. Look at that. See how when the wind is going through that bubble, it's making like an elongated bubble? Or he's blowing the bubble, actually. Wow, a little boy with that much air. But when a bubble is quietly floating in the air by itself, it is always round. The air inside the bubble pushes out against the soap skin. It doesn't push harder in one place than in another. It just pushes evenly all around. And this makes the bubble, what shape again? Round. It's actually like a sphere, right? The soap skin holds the air inside and it pushes back against the air. So it exerts the same amount of push on the whole bubble, which makes a bubble round. If your hands are dry and you touch bubbles, they pop. Anything that pokes them makes a hole in the soap skin, whoosh, and the air inside rushes out. Even if you don't touch bubbles, they still will pop because they dry out. Their soap skin starts to shrink and they can't hold all the air inside the bubble anymore. So they pop. There are other kinds of bubbles too. The next time you drink soda, and you really shouldn't drink soda, maybe you should drink seltzer without any sweet or anything in it. Well, when you drink seltzer or you're grown up maybe drink soda, look carefully at the bottom of the glass. You're going to see tiny bubbles forming. You can watch them get bigger and bigger. And finally they get so big that they start to float up through the soda higher and higher. And then they pop. You know when you pour soda or seltzer in a glass, that's what happens. They pop up on the top. Why? You can also make bubbles with a straw. Try that. Put one end of the straw in a glass of water or juice and blow. Bubbles float up through the liquid and pop. Water and juice aren't sticky like soap solution, so the bubbles pop right away. So we know that bubbles need a sticky solution to stretch. Water will just pop. Don't make a mess blowing bubbles. Just try it outside. It's fun. Milk is stickier than water. If you blow bubbles with a straw in a glass of milk, they'll stay at the top of the glass for a while. They won't float through the air like a soap bubble. The milk isn't sticky enough for that, but milk bubbles look like soap bubbles. Wherever they aren't touching the glass or each other, they will be round. Why don't you go outside and try that? Do it outside so you don't make a big mess. Get a glass of water and a glass of milk and get 2 straws. Blow bubbles in both and do the experiment. Which one makes bigger bubbles that stay as bubbles? And figure out why. Why did we say? Because milk is thicker and you need something thicker to hold the air in the bubble, right? But they still won't float away because they're not stretchy and sticky enough. You can make tiny, tiny bubbles. You can make bubbles big enough to step inside. Remember when we went with Miss Linda to the Long Island Children's Museum and you stepped inside a bubble? You can blow one bubble or a whole stream of bubbles. But you can't make a square bubble. Bubbles are always what? What shape is a bubble? It's round, right? So I sent you a recipe on how to make your own bubbles. And then there's some experiments you can do, right? Are bubbles always round, right? Try to blow bubbles through a square hole and find out, right? You can take a quart or a pint-sized milk carton and have a grown-up cut off the end and dip one end in and blow it and see what shape it is. So even if the wand that you blow with is square or rectangle or triangle, it still will be a round bubble. Why? Do you remember? Because the air inside a bubble, it pushes out on all sides the same and it makes it round. Just like when you blow up a balloon, right? So try blowing bubbles all different ways. Try to blow them slowly. Try to blow them quickly. Try to let the air blow them. Try to run and blow bubbles, okay? That'd be fun. Try to blow bubbles in your water and your milk, but not when you're at dinner or at a restaurant. That's just rude, right? Do it for fun. And try to you can make your own giant bubble wand, right? With straws and a string, and you can make your own bubble solution. But any way that you do it, have so much fun blowing bubbles and amaze your family and friends with all the information you know about bubbles. What's outside of a bubble? What's inside of a bubble? And why are bubbles round? Have a fun, fantastic, fabulous Friday. I'll see you at Zoom.